Hello friends, Tom Downey here for Chat Sports, live from the College Football Playoff National Championship game, but we're here to talk about the NFL and the NFL playoffs, namely the playoff bracket now that the wild card games have wrapped up. We'll take you through the overview for the NFC and the AFC, and then break down each of these matchups in depth. First up, the updated NFC playoff bracket, Eagles at the Saints, and the Cowboys at the Rams. As we all saw coming at the midpoint of the year, two NFC East teams are among the final four teams left in the NFC. Over in the AFC, it was the road teams that won. The Colts, they took down the Texans. They go to face now the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chargers, they now get the New England Patriots. So Colts, Chargers, they won their wild card matchups. Chiefs and Patriots coming off the bye, they get to play there now. So that's your AFC playoff bracket right now. Colts with an impressive win there over the Houston Texans. And then, of course, the Chargers, they get the Patriots. By the way, quick note here on Phillip Rivers. He's looking to, for the first time ever, find a way to take down Tom Brady. He has not done that before as a member of the Chargers. All right, so let's focus on some of those NFC games. First up, the Cowboys at the Rams. Rams open as a 7-point favorite against the Cowboys. Game's out in L.A., but I'll make note here. The Cowboys have their preseason stuff in California. There are going to be plenty of Cowboys fans at that game. The Cowboys have won 8 of their last 9. Of course, they beat Seattle 24-22 in the wild card game. The Rams, they're just 2-2 in the last 4 games. Kind of had a little bit of a late season swoon against the Bears and the Eagles, but they're coming off their bye. They are 7-1 at home this year. Your over/under checks in at 48.5. The Rams, a full touchdown favorite in this one. As for the Cowboys, they're coming off an incredible and thrilling win against the Seattle Seahawks, 24-22. Just their 5th playoff win since 1995. That 5th one being Super Bowl 30's victory. Now, the score kind of got a little bit dicey at the end because the Seahawks had a late touchdown, but the Cowboys were up for most of that 4th quarter. Now, the Rams, as I'm sure we all know, have that dynamic offense, but it's a matchup of strengths here. Cowboys have a great defense, 5th in the NFL this year in points, and were pretty good against the Seahawks beyond 1 or 2 drives. The Rams have that great offense. Todd Gurley back for sitting out a couple of games down the stretch, and we all know how good Sean McVay is as a play caller. Then on the other side of the field, when the Cowboys have the ball on offense, it's rather different. Pretty average to below average. Cowboys have done a great job of running the football this year, but the passing attack has been lukewarm at best, and the Rams' defense, they've given up quite a few points. They do force turnovers, so do the Cowboys, but that's an interesting matchup there. So strengths, weaknesses, the tail of the tape there for the Cowboys and the Rams. The Rams, your number 2 seed. The Cowboys are your number 4 seed. And then your other NFC Divisional Round game, the Philadelphia Eagles going on the road to take on the New Orleans Saints. They open up as 8-point favorites, the Saints do. Philadelphia still trying to make the magic of St. Nick Foles work in the playoffs. It worked against Cody Parkey after he doinked his potential, would have been, game-winning field goal off the uprights not once but twice. Saints 8-point favorites. And remember, we've seen these two teams play. The Saints boat raced the Eagles 48-7, but Philadelphia, they've won 6 of their last 7 games. They're hot right now. The Saints coming off the bye. As strange as it sounds, only 6-2 at home this year, which is by no means bad, but not quite what you would normally think for the Saints there. So 8-point favorites there for New Orleans, and see what ends up happening in that game. I think it'll be a fantastic matchup. I'll put my money so far on the New Orleans Saints. I think it'll be a good game. I'm not going to doubt the magic of Nick Foles in the playoffs, but the Saints, as that, call it 1-score favorite there, I think will be a big boost there for New Orleans. Drew Brees at home. Well, we know how good he can be. As for the Eagles, they made it fun, right? On the road against that great Chicago Bears defense, the Eagles defense stepped up as well, and Nick Foles led that magical game-winning drive. Cody Parkey had it from 43, doinked it off the left upright, and then again off the front crossbar. It was no good, but the Eagles, they find a way to survive. So some comparisons here for these two teams when they're on offense and defense. The Eagles' offense has been, I'd say fair to say, below average this year. 19th in points. They don't have much of a running game at all, which ends up being a matchup of weaknesses and strengths because the Saints' run defense has been really, really good this year. But you can beat New Orleans through the air, which does make sense. Teams often ahead tend to have really good run defenses and iffy at best passing defense because they're just throwing on nonstop. But advantage here leans more towards the Saints. And then with the Saints on offense, it's the same story there. Advantage New Orleans. They don't turn the ball over very much. They have a really good passing attack. The ground game we know is also great. I give the edge there to the New Orleans Saints, but let me know what you guys think. Who you got in this one, the Saints or the Eagles? Type S for the Saints, E for the Philadelphia Eagles. I'll take the Saints in this one. I think they have a very good chance at coming out and finding a way to win the NFC this season. All right, over now to the AFC Divisional Round. And as we showed you earlier, it's Colts and the Chiefs in the Battle of the Seas, and the LA Chargers versus the Patriots in this one. So we'll start things off here with the Colts and the Chiefs. Colts going on the road as hot as all get out. The Chiefs at home, only 5.5-point favorites, maybe lower than some expected. Now, we know how great Patrick Mahomes is. He was named the All-Pro first-team quarterback. But the Colts, is there a hotter team in football right now than Indianapolis? They were written off as dead fairly early in the year, and for some good reasons. But since then, they've won 10 of their last 11 games. The Chiefs, coming off the bye, they're 7-1 at home this year. So a higher scoring game on the over-under, which I think makes sense knowing the Chiefs' offense and their defense and how they've played games so far this year. They're 5.5-point favorites. So we'll compare these two teams again versus offense and versus defense. And Colts offense, by the way, it's been good too. Don't sleep on Andrew Luck and Frank Reich's offensive attack this year. Rushing game has been not elite, but that's okay because the passing game has been. 5th in points this year. Maybe cut down the turnovers. That could be a big red flag for Andrew Luck, who has had a couple of head-scratching interceptions this season. The Chiefs' defense, not so good. They force turnovers, which is always a big deal, but 24th in points per game, near the bottom in passing and rushing defense in terms of yards allowed. That's a big red flag there. The good news is, very few teams can even compete with the Chiefs on offense, averaging over 35 points a game. Even with no Kareem Hunt, they can run the football. And, of course, we know how dynamic the passing game is with Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. And I guess Sammy Watkins when he's actually on the field. So who do you have in this one? Type 1 for the Chiefs, type 2 for the Colts. The Colts are going to put up a very good showing. I like them on the money line given that they're 5.5-point favorites, but for now, I'll pick the Chiefs, but I might change my vote here once I get to make my own bets later on in this week. All right, again here, the AFC Divisional Round matchup bracket. Chargers now at the New England Patriots. Can Phillip Rivers snap the Patriots' dark cloud that's hung over him his entire NFL career? Patriots at home, only 4.5-point favorites. Rather unusual for a Patriots team in the postseason. Now, New England, though, a perfect 8-0 at home this year, and they've had at least one playoff win each year since 2010. The Chargers, meanwhile, by the way, fun fact, have not lost outside of California at all this season. Now, Philip Rivers has never beaten Tom Brady, but it's kind of weird to think about an LA team that hasn't lost outside of the state of California this season, which is crazy. Over under 47. Patriots again favored by 4.5. The Chargers, things got a little bit dicey at the end, but they totally shut down the Ravens offense for 3.5 quarters of that game until the fourth quarter when Lamar Jackson finally got it going through the air. Minimal ground game for the Ravens kind of allows them to overlook a rather poor showing by the Chargers offense. Phillip Rivers, 22 of 32 for 160. If you had told me that, I would have thought LA got destroyed by the Ravens. That was not a great showing from Rivers, but it was enough to get the victory. All right, so when the Chargers are on offense, even though they had a bit of an iffy showing against the Ravens, they're very good and at minimum above average. Tied for 5th in points. We know that they can pass the ball with Rivers and Williams and Keenan Allen and so on. And we know they can run the ball when Melvin Gordon's actually healthy. He did get banged up again today, so monitor that one going forward. And the Patriots, as they often do, have a good scoring defense. They force a lot of turnovers, allowing just 20.3 points per game. And then a matchup of strength, which I think is going to be a fascinating battle this week coming up. Chargers defense, which is really good, top 10 almost across the board, and the Patriots offense, which is top 10 across the board. I lean more towards the Patriots in this one. I know New England is not the same team we're accustomed to seeing. I know they're not the dominant Patriots team that's going to just roll through the AFC, then have a close game in the Super Bowl, but I will lean towards the Patriots with my pick here. But let me know what you guys got. Type P for Patriots or type C for Chargers. Until they get taken down, at least for this first matchup, I'll go with Tom Brady and New England at least one more game.